Hey guys, Nick here. I'm sitting with Aaron and Jeremy, and we're going to talk about Moses Dyer Coffee in East Harpswell, Maine. It's a great brew. I had it the other day when I was up investigating this little roaster in East Harpswell. So thanks so much for sitting with us, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Give me a little bit of the history of the coffee, and let's start with the name. Where'd the name come from?
Well, the name is of my great-great-grandfather,
Mm-hmm.
who probably had nothing to do with coffee. He was
Sure.
a fisherman right out here.
Yeah.
And the company was started by my sister and brother-in-law
Okay.
back in the mid-2000s. They moved out west. Jeremy was working for them for quite a while, and then essentially approached us to sort of take over.
Mm-hmm.
This was five or so years ago.
Yeah.
And I guess, as they say, the rest is history. Jeremy kind of talked me into it, and
It's great.
we haven't looked back. It's been quite a ride.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And Jeremy, how long have you been roasting coffee?
Well, like Aaron said, I roasted for his sister and brother-in-law for about a year
Mm-hmm.
before we took over, so that gave me a good chance to practice and learn on the job,
Yeah.
and then make me think that we could probably do this.
So self-taught.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
great.
I guess so. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
How many bad batches, I guess, right?
Too many.
Too many. As I say to my son, you learn from failure, right? You pick
Yeah.
yourself up and you
Failure
dust
and,
yourself.
and trial and error. There's
Trial and error.
I mean, thankfully we're doing this in the age of the internet, where there's a lot of resources
Yeah.
out there. But I mean, it's just getting to know the roaster, the machine itself,
Mhm.
what works for different kinds of coffee, and
Mm-hmm.
and how to approach new coffees, and
Yeah.
just basically how to make coffee that you like, that hopefully someone else will like too.
Yeah. And how many different flavor profiles? Is that what would you call it?
Roasts.
Yeah,
Roasts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually 12 to 14. There's some we always have, and then we do some seasonal beans too. That are different parts of the world are harvesting coffee at different times.
Yeah.
So we'll have a rotating selection of single origin coffees as well. Just kind of get a few bags of this or that through the
Mhm.
season to have some different offerings.
And how do you source what are the green bean? Is
Green
that-
beans. Yeah. We go through a broker,
Okay.
like an importer.
Yeah.
And larger coffee roasting operations will talk directly to farms, and they'll buy shipping containers full of
Sure.
a single green bean. We're not that large.
Sure.
So we have the middleman
Yeah.
that we go through, so they can get coffee from all over the world, and then we can pick and choose from what they get. So we're getting an order of green coffee today,
Mhm.
actually. So on a couple of pallets, we're going to have coffee from 6 different countries all
Oh,
over
wow.
the world. There are some advantages to that for sure.
What's the advantage?
Being the selection,
Oh, okay.
in
Yeah.
a single order, we get coffee from many different regions, which allows us to have so many different offerings.
Bring me to you call the broker to it's in somebody's coffee pot. What's that process like?
That process has evolved
Mhm.
over the last few years, so they've gotten more online now.
Okay. So you order it, and does it show up on an 18-wheeler here at the house, or do you have to go pick it up somewhere?
We have an arrangement that
I meet somebody in the dark alley.
well, it's sort of. It's not usually
Yeah.
that dark, but
Yeah.
yeah, like you said about the opportunities for doing business in Maine.
Mhm.
So we have an arrangement at the mill in Brunswick, where they
Oh, great.
have the loading dock, and they receive our shipments, and they get coffee. So we order the coffee from the broker.
Mhm.
The trucking company goes to the broker in
Mhm.
New Jersey, picks it up,
Mhm.
gives me a call. We arrange the delivery,
Yeah.
pay for the shipment, and then they bring it up and drop it off in Brunswick, usually 2 days later, which is kind of amazing. if you
That
think
is
about
amazing.
it.
Yeah.
So then our friend at the mill receives the order and holds it there until we go pick it up
Okay.
ourselves, and then offer him some coffee.
Oh wow. Your different types of coffee. Is it a different bean, or is it just a different roasting time? Or is it a little A and a little B?
It's both.
Yeah.
It's both for sure. So like I said, we'll get coffee from different origins. So
Mhm.
when I just say different origins, you can think about it, it's sections of the coffee growing regions of the world. So
Mhm.
South America, Central America, Indonesia,
Mhm.
Africa, all these places have, within those regions are different countries, and all the coffees from every different country and region of that country have different
Mhm.
characteristics.
Sure.
Some of those beans lend themselves better to a light roast.
Yeah.
Some lend themselves better to a dark roast.
Yeah.
Some are somewhere in between.
Sure.
So when we get a new bean, we have to do that testing to see where that bean is the flavors of that bean are best expressed. We have a couple of blends that we use, so
Mhm.
we try to get similar coffees for those blends, and some of the single origins that are rotating. So that'd be an example of a new bean that we need to learn how to roast while we're trying to produce it for people to buy and drink. And the part of the game is, for some of our roasts, like we can't always get the same bean year round. So finding beans with similar characteristics that we can get and bridge the gap between different beans of different origins.
So now it's roasted. You've got it in your storage. You're ready to sell. How do people find your coffee?
A couple different ways. We wholesale a fair amount of coffee to stores in the area. We're quite local. We have a couple of accounts down Portland Way.
Okay.
But I guess our mainstay has always been doing the farmers markets in town. Both there's a winter market and a summer market, so we have we have established clientele at both of those markets, and it's just keeping up with that. We're wholesaling a lot more coffee than we used to, so. It's available in Brunswick. If you're in the Portland area, we can steer you towards some places. And then finally, we have an online presence, and people are buying it all over the country. We're shipping to the West Coast fairly regularly, and everywhere in between.
Yeah.
So
I sent some to a friend in Texas. So
cool.
Yeah,
cool.
So I know it's getting there.
Yeah.
That's great. So what's the website? Where can somebody go find coffee? Type in their name and address and get some shipped to them.
MosesDyerCoffee.com.
Okay.
Did I get it right?
You did.
Awesome.
Very nice.
It's a bit long.
So you go to the farmers market, and this is year round. So you guys are there every week?
Every week.
Every Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And where is that located?
Right now, we're at Crystal Spring Farms on Pleasant Hill Road in Brunswick.
Okay.
That runs through the end of October, and then we'll switch over to the Fort at the end of Main Street in Brunswick, the big brick building.
So the old antique, it's an antique place?
Yeah, it's right by the, I think it's
next to the
flea
bridge.
market. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yep, exactly.
Right.
And we'll be there through April, I think. It's the end of April, and then we go back outside.
Sounds right.
So it's indoors?
It is indoors.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, we maintained that through COVID, and it worked really well. People were great. Most people were great about it.
Yeah.
And yeah.
What a really cool story. Can we see the shop?
Sure.
Absolutely.
All right. Cool.